Hey guys, it's the coach, it's Mike, and we are here for what we're hoping is a tradition we do every holiday season, which is grade the NFL rookies. So we're going to start with the QBs. We're going to do the great QBs, the okay QBs so far, and even the guys who have barely gotten in, and even one guy who hasn't played yet, but just kind of want to give him some love. So we're going to grade 8 QBs today. So without further ado, let's get into it.
As the first pick in the NFL draft, you have to expect Bryce Young to go to a terrible situation. And that's exactly what happened when he landed in North Carolina. The Panthers were a franchise that made some interesting staff choices in a rebuilding year and became the latest to experience the Frank Reich is in over his head coaching experience, just like the Colts did. His most recent game showed a big spike in trust with new leadership behind him, but reared some of the same inconsistency problems he's had all year. The talent to be the franchise quarterback for them is there, but they need to go out and get some protection for him, or he will not progress at the same rate as his draft class. He currently has completed 61.7% of his passes, which is a bright spot, but a lot of them are short-range passes in an attempt to let the receivers make a play on the ball because Frank Reich had very low trust in him. This has led to 1,877 yards with 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in what is a season to be forgotten recently. People are quick to forget that it took Josh Allen until about the end of his third season to develop into something that he is today, but let's just hope Bryce makes it that long.
Now moving on to the second pick in the NFL draft, who the Houston Texans took, the best rookie this year, and some should easily win the Rookie of the Year and possibly maybe get some MVP votes if the Texans can kind of navigate their way into the playoffs. Stroud has been electric this year for him. He has over 3,500 passing yards, 20 TDs, and only 5 picks. So he's keeping a hold of the football in his rookie campaign as of December 3rd. He has a passer rating of 101, a figure a rookie QB hasn't touched since Robert Griffin III's fairy tale 2012 Washington season, which I feel gets lost in the history books, but was just absolutely insane. CJ Stroud is putting up similar numbers. Then you throw in the fact he took over the second worst team in the NFL and has them actually winning games in his rookie year with wide receivers that going into the season, most NFL teams would not have put on their roster. He's taken over this team. He's changed the culture. It seems like overnight, him and D'Amico Ryans have. And I think the A+ rating is fair. And I think the next question is how good can he end up being? The sky is the limit for CJ Stroud. He seems to be the diamond in this class. It's just how good of a diamond is CJ going to be? Is he going to be a top 5 guy? Is it top 10? Or is he going to just kind of be that good but never great quarterback that kind of starts for 10, 15 years? The good thing is, though, for the Texans, they have a franchise QB. It's just how high is this franchise QB going to be?
All right. Next up is Will Levis. Will was thrust into the lineup after a vastly underperforming Ryan Tannehill, who we saw today can't even hold a football for an extra point correctly, the damn Aggie. Will took charge early on with 4 touchdowns in his debut, but defenses quickly cut off the easy long ball, and he could not just outthrow them DeAndre Hopkins every time. It took a few games for him to adapt, but today's game against the Colts showed that he has a lot more throws in his bag than the long ball. He also has a lot of hustle and has shown improvement each week, and that has led to him producing 7 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. You'd like to see him be more accurate with it, with him only completing 57.8% of passes, connecting for 1,266 passing yards on 107 completions. But he's being used as a high yardage additive, in my opinion, to the Derrick Henry show, as they limp to what they believe might be a playoff spot in the AFC South, which is shortly waning, actually. This has earned them the grade of a B-. Will seems to utilize his weapons well, to the best of his ability at least, and will only grow as his team slides into a bit of a half rebuild.
Anthony Richardson was the 3rd quarterback taken overall in the NFL draft this last season, and he's kind of a weird one to rate due to his injuries and the fact he's only got 4 games played. I think giving him a C plus is fair. He has lacked some consistency as a thrower. He's shown, though, that he does have the potential. On one hand, he has all the tools in the world to be the next big running quarterback. I see him as a Cam Newton type, but then again, he does lack some consistency when throwing. He would miss some easy throws and miss some easy opportunities. But he is young, and you think if he can clean it up, he could have Lamar Jackson type MVP seasons. My worry for him is he's going to end up being the next Cam Newton when it comes to injuries, though. He could have a few great years, but it won't take care of himself, and injuries will end up being his downfall. We've already seen him take big hits in the 4 games he's played, and it's already taken him out of the season. The crazy thing about all of this is the Colts are still winning without him, which I'm not using to knock his grade. I don't think you can really take that into account. But I will say this, the Colts organization is solid and they know how to build a decent team around the young QB, which will give him chances to succeed in the future. They're going to give him weapons. They find good running backs, they find wide receivers, and they always seem to have a at least above average defense. So he will have opportunities to be successful in the future. At the end of the day, he is hard to grade. I just hope he can stay healthy next year and get a shot to truly show the world what he's capable of doing. Again, giving him a C+ grade.
Aiden O'Connell came into the lineup to replace the mid at best Jimmy Garoppolo and brought a much needed spark in attitude wise during the Raiders losing streak. He has a decent arm, but does try and force it to Devonta Adams a lot, creating a lot of interesting turnovers when you watch him the games back. He seems to be a locker room kind of guy, but is certainly being tripped up by the speed of the NFL game. Kind of a bit reminds me a bit of Mike White, which it was much to be expected from a 4th-round rookie quarterback. The Raiders' win column might be missing Garoppolo, but the offense is definitely a tad bit more explosive and creative with O'Connell at the helm. His 1,194 passing yards with 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions lead him to the C- grade today.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson is the next QB we're doing. The 5th-round pick is currently playing for the Browns. DTR has been a great late round find for the Browns, especially considering all the QB health problems they have faced this year. It seems like it's been a revolving door. They had to dust off Joe Flacco this last week to get him out there and playing for him. Now, grading him is quite a difficult challenge, in my opinion. I think he's a good backup, and he was drafted to be a backup and not the future of a franchise. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, I think he deserves, to be looked at as a good high-end late-round pick. Like, the dude has done what you've asked him. He's come in, he's kept the offense moving at a decent ability. They stay in games, but he just hasn't been great. And I think you can't complain because, with Watson and Chubb out, he at least has kept them in games and given them opportunities this year. I just feel like he falls short in some other things. I have decided to give him a grade of a D, which I know is harsh. In the 4 games he's actually played, with only 3 that he's got good playing time, he has 429 passing yards, which isn't awful, but he's thrown the ball to the other team 4 times and only has 1 touchdown. I think he has the talent to stick around the league as a backup, but he doesn't seem to have starter talent, or at least is not starter ready right now. And I know he kind of got thrown in with injuries, so I can't really knock him too much. The good news for Browns fans is he can learn from Watson when he gets healthy, and hopefully he can develop into a good backup that maybe gets a Dobbs or Geno Smith chance in the future.
And to close it out, we're going to be grading Clayton Tune. This man is not backing down from the random pedestrian's claim that he is the best quarterback in the draft. And with 62 yards and 2 interceptions with a 55% completion percentage, who could argue with you? In all honesty, he didn't stand a chance on the Cardinals this year, but he's no game changer off the bat. And to be behind Jeff Driscoll really says something. On the bright side, he looked pretty nice in the preseason, and he can definitely make the simple throws across the middle and in the short to mid range. The big question is, can he get up to
have to go ahead and make adjustments to what he's comfortable with?
Tune to the end zone, touchdown! Caden Davis got free in the back of the end.
It would be nice to see.
Sorry, Mike, but that's not the last one. But before we get to my last one, which I didn't give him a grade, but he is my last one, just want to remind you guys, please subscribe, like, leave a comment down below. We appreciate all the support and we thank you guys for growing the channel. So maybe one day we can have ads of, Ray's Shadowlands or something like that. I don't know. We're getting there. We're growing. But my last guy is Hendon Hooker. And we're not giving him a grade. He's getting incomplete, didn't get his work done, didn't go to school enough. So didn't get a grade. But he doesn't get a grade. I feel like he just deserves some love and should be talked about a bit. He suffered a terrible ACL injury at the end of the season last year for Tennessee, and he finally got the chance to practice as a pro with the Lions this week before the Saints game. He said he couldn't even sleep before practice. He was so excited. So I'm really happy for him, and I'm hoping he gets an opportunity to really showcase his talent in the future. And I think a guy like Teddy Bridgewater also being there in Detroit is really good. Teddy went through a terrible injury. He knows what it takes to, be a pro and stick around. So I hope, Hendon can learn from Teddy and get an opportunity in the years to come. So that concludes our grades of the QBs. We left a couple out of draft picks that don't really do much. We didn't feel like grading them. So if you left your guy out, let us know in the comments down below that we're idiots. We get that all the time, so we're used to it. But other than that, y'all have a wonderful, happy holidays, and see y'all next time. Peace.